So today we are doing a video on a charcuterie board, and I had a friend from high school, which actually I have not actually seen
Is this the closest you've seen her since
high school.
1928?
Yeah, well, I will say I was class of 1989. Melanie, this is Melanie Cramer, and
hello, Melanie.
Hi, Paula.
I'm Paula Deen.
This is Paula Deen.
Oh my God, I had no idea. Yes, you were class of 89. Yes. I was a rising freshman for 88, 89. You and I were in band together.
Right. We were in band.
And what
together.
Instrument did you play?
I played clarinet.
And what did you play, Melanie?
Bassoon, clarinet, saxophone, and I also did piano.
My gracious, do you still do your instruments today?
Oh no, they went to people who needed an instrument for their kids. I actually ended up changing it in. I became a parent years ago, and you got to prioritize, but I did do it for about 27 years total.
Wow. My favorite instrument is a sax.
Yes.
I love Kenny G's work.
Absolutely.
So I was so happy when Eddie told me about you. He said, I have this friend, Paula, that I went to school with.
Yeah.
And weren't you browsing on Facebook or something, Eddie?
Well, it was a couple years ago. She friended me on Facebook, and like on the weekends, all of a sudden I would see all this like fancy food showing up on my screen, and I was like, oh well, she must be a chef. And then I wasn't quite sure if you were a chef or not, or if it was just a fun hobby for you. But she would do all this amazing fruit carving. And,
I know Eddie showed me some of it, Melanie, and it's exquisite, y'all.
Oh, thank you.
I don't nearly have the patience to do that.
So when we started,
I'm a Southern sloppy cook, I think.
we started talking about doing a charcuterie board, and she just instantly came to mind. So
I'm so happy. I'm so happy you made this introduction. I watched a video of you, Melanie, and I just fell in love with you.
Oh,
God. Tell you what, I could sit and listen to you talk all day. Because you know what? I don't know if you know this or not, but you have an accent.
You do have an accent.
You have an accent.
And I don't ever
Eddie
think
doesn't have one.
I don't think I ever had. My family does sound like that to me, and I don't think I ever had that accent. Though.
I bet you did.
I'm born and raised in Massachusetts, and I still have the accent. It is what it is, and
don't ever try to lose it because it's so endearing.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm so glad that we're having this opportunity today. Now, where can they go to find you on Facebook or?
So I actually named it after my late grandfather. His nickname is Konky. It's called Konky's Creative Kitchen.
Spell it, please.
K as in Catherine, O, N as in Nancy, K as in Catherine, Y. Basically, he used to conk out all the time in the chair.
He used to conk?
He would conk out in the chair, so that's how he got his nickname.
Oh, conk out.
Yeah.
Conk out.
I actually learned... I learned how to do a lot of the cooking with him and my grandmother. I'm the oldest of 36 grandkids and great-grandchildren.
Did they name y'all?
Oh, God, I think they should have, to be honest, because we live there pretty much.
So they would call every one of y'all by name. That would be amazing. I have 11, and I stumble over their names.
He was very influential with the whole nothing gets wasted, nothing gets spared. Everything is saved no matter what.
Yes.
And charcuterie is just that, the epitome of nothing gets wasted. And that's how historically it's been known.
All right, now pronounce that one more time for me.
Charcuterie.
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 Charcuterie. That's what I call it, I think. Charcuterie. I call it like a charcuterie.
Okay, and give us all right. Give us a like a brief background of it, real quick. And
all right. So wait, before you do that, tell us where we can find you again. I got you off on another story.
Konky's Creative Kitchen on Facebook.
Konky's Creative Kitchen.
Yep. On
Facebook or anything.
I do have a website. It's the shorter version, kcknh.com.
KC?
K.
A, the letter C.
And it's kcknh.com.
Like my friend KC and the Sunshine Boys.
Bingo.
He's just a K and a C. Okay.
But I also have Instagram.
Is KC, is there a period after either one of those?
kcknh.com.
KNH.
KCNH. All right.
Okay, I just want to make sure that, because there's going to be a lot of people watching you do this, Melanie, and I just want to make sure that they're going to be able to find you and see all your beautiful work. So, y'all, Melanie is going to take over with the rest of this video. So I'm just going to sit back and watch the master.
Sounds great. Hey guys, I am getting ready to set up the board here. I figured the best way to display what I'm doing is to have the camera directly above the board. I think this is the best way to handle this so I can show you exactly what we're gonna do. One of the things with the prep work that gets involved with charcuterie, just how much do you need to prep? So you have to ask yourself one important question. Are you serving dinner? If you're serving dinner and you want a charcuterie, it's best to estimate about 2 to 3 ounces per person, maybe even 4. Because you figure some people, they got a hearty appetite. They could definitely do a small meal-size appetizer before the dinner comes out. Then if you're going to be doing what I'm doing, where charcuterie is going to be the main meal, we typically would end up with 6 to 8 ounces per person. That's how I handle it with my catering. So even though it's just my husband and I have enough food planned for the next few days because I can repurpose all this. One of the first things I have here is my stand. I just got a little simple paper doily here to try to soak up any of the garlic butter I have on. I have my toast. So we're just going to make it fairly simple. A nice little setup. Just fan it out. This doesn't have to be anything substantially displayed, but it certainly looks wonderful, especially with all these nice little blisters. I love this. Oh, this is my favorite. So this looks wicked sweet right now. I'm actually going to put this aside. Now, here we go with the board. So we're doing meats, cheeses, crackers, mini sandwiches, roasted squash. I have homemade pickling made. I even did up some shrimp cocktail. So what we're gonna do, we have our spreadables. I've got here a ginger herb tuna spread. Goes great on bread, especially toasted pumpernickel or crackers. So we're gonna put our spreadables. This is the homemade Boursin cheese spread. I make this homemade all the time. My husband loves this. So I'm going with spreadables on the corners. It just offers me an optical balance here. I have here some homemade marinated artichokes, and I marinated some pearl mozzarella balls with a homemade pesto sauce. Now I have 6 little crocks, so I need to figure out how I'm going to configure this. So I'm going to take a look. Quite simple. We'll go to the poles, which are your edges, and then the middle. and we just gauge it from there. I have homemade marinated mushrooms, and I have some olive oil soaked sun-dried tomatoes. These are awesome. So we just simply set them up. I find this helps map everything else out for myself. Now I also have 2 kinds of olives. I have some beautiful Greek olives and Queen olives. Mind you, again, this is all going to be repurposed. Nothing's going to waste. So let's go ahead and start with these cheeses. We've got cubed version. So I have some Colby Jack and I have some mild cheddar. And I'm just going to go ahead and start plugging everything in, because everything's going to have its own little piece of real estate. This does not have to be precise. There's no rule that says you put this here and that there. There is just something very freeing about charcuterie boards. About the only thing I can say that's considered rule-based, anything that's marinating or in a solution, a brine, set it up in a crock, set it up in a small bowl if you want. I just think it makes it that much easier and simpler, because when you break everything down, you don't want what I call cross-contamination. You don't want marinades going on things that are just going to taste a little funky. Yeah, we don't want to do that. So cube cheese is in place. I'm actually looking next at some mini sandwiches. I find little sandwiches are awesome to make. This is the actual tuna spread. We've got some red bell peppers, thinly sliced provolone, some wild greens, and I just think these look absolutely adorable. These are perfect for someone who just wants a little sandwich, maybe a couple pickles. So you can easily place those anywhere and everywhere you want. Again, no rules. This is so forgiving. And already we're seeing this come together. I have roasted squash next. I went and did a nice simple olive oil, garlic, salt and pepper. So we have some summer squash and zucchini. I'm gonna pile it up right here. Without any care in the world, it's gonna look beautiful all on its own. And I find certain items go very well with each other when you're going ahead and piling it on your plate. These will go wonderful with the sun-dried tomato. They'll go great with the Greek olives and the boursin cheese. Colossal, colossal family get-together right there. It's beautiful. All in all, this is going to be the simplest, easiest thing you can do. I'm now working with Greek marinated steak. I had a nice Greek dressing made. This was marinated for a couple of days before grilling. And we're going to also put in some prosciutto, very classic. These are wrapped up. I find it's much easier to just grab. This is probably one of my most favorites, prosciutto. Sometimes it does get a little pricey, but you can always get a different type of ham. So now I'm going to work with Genoa salami. I went and already arranged it a bit. We did some small pieces so they can go great on crackers. And I'm just going to fit that right here in its little corner. And just for some fun, I wrapped up a few, basically just taking the slice, cutting it in half, and making little cones out of it. That's perfect for when you want to just have a quick bite of a protein. And then you go and sit down. Enjoy. The real legwork is the prep. I actually took my time with many of these items because some of them had to be made ahead of time. Like the marinades, the dressings. Figured that was perfect to do. And the bulk of everything else is typically done the day of. So when we come back, we're going to show you what this board looks like all done. I'm going to get back to work and I'll catch you in a minute. All right, the final result. Look at the board. We have such a variety here. This actually is enough for about 20 people, possibly even 25. But if you knew my husband, he could probably eat for 3 people right away. So we've got our cheese platter, crackers, some fresh fruit, shrimp cocktail. I have some spinach artichoke puff pastry, garlic bread, and of course the charcuterie board.
Melanie, I thought I loved you, but now I know I love you. That was just wonderful watching you create a charcuterie board. And I know that there's so many other things that you can do. And I'm going to ask you right now, would you come back and us do another segment together at some point?
Are you kidding? Yeah, I would love to.
Well, you got to see some of her fruit carving. That would be
her fruit carving is over the moon, y'all.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm so glad that I have a new friend now, and I'm so glad that, well, I couldn't live without Eddie, I'll tell you right now, Melanie. But I'm so glad he introduced us, made the introduction.
Absolutely.
And, so everybody out there, along with Melanie, I send y'all love and best dishes, and enjoy her work, y'all.
And to you as well, Paula.
Thank you. Thank you, Melanie.
Bye, Melanie.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.